This is an ABC News special report. Trump and Kim, the historic summit. Now reporting from Singapore, David Muir.
Hello again, everyone from Singapore, and it has been an extraordinary day here in Singapore. Middle of the night back home in the United States. History made, the first sitting U.S. president to sit down face-to-face with the leader of North Korea, in this case, dictator Kim Jong-un. The president a short time ago telling our George Stephanopoulos that he does trust Kim Jong-un. George pressing the president, how will he verify complete denuclearization? And the president said that will be worked out, but that they will find ways to verify. Looking back to Ronald Reagan's words, saying trust but verify. The president echoing those words just a short time ago here. I want to take you to the room. You can see it right now. That's Capella Hotel, Sentosa Island, where the president met with Kim Jong-un.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Jeff Glow reporting from Singapore. Good evening to you in the States. It is Tuesday morning here in Singapore and a new day in relations between the United States and North Korea. President Trump and Kim Jong-un have arrived at the Capella Hotel on the island of Sentosa for their historic summit. The main goal here, an agreement to rid the Korean peninsula of nuclear weapons, or at least start down that road. You are looking at a live picture at the Capella Hotel. You see the red carpet, you see the North Korean flags and the American flags as we await the arrival momentarily of both of these leaders. The first time ever that a sitting U.S. president has met with the leader of North Korea. I'm joined now by our CBS News chief White House correspondent, Major Garrett. And Major, we should mention at this hour we're dealing with breaking news on multiple fronts. One is this summit, and two is the president's economic advisor, so involved in this dust-up after the G7, just suffered a heart attack.
I'm Shannon Bream at the Washington Bureau of Fox News with breaking news. We're just moments away from the first ever meeting between a U.S. president and a leader of North Korea. It is 9 p.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. in Singapore, where President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are about to go behind closed doors with only their translators for a one-on-one meeting, leaving behind the scores of diplomats and media who have been following them around. Leading up to that moment, there will be a diplomatic photo op there.
This is an NBC News special report. Reporting from Singapore, here's Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone, from Singapore, where it is just before 9 in the morning local time, and the historic high-stakes summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is just moments away. Here's a live picture right now from Singapore's Capella Hotel, where the two men are about to meet and shake hands for the first time. Both leaders who not long ago traded insults famously, and threats left their hotels just a short time ago en route to this meeting. This is the first time a sitting U.S. president has ever met with a North Korean leader since the Kim dynasty took power 70 years ago. On the agenda, of course, North Korea's nuclear arsenal, and the Trump White House has been both raising hopes and lowering expectations about what will be accomplished here in the coming hours. Joining me right now here in Singapore, our Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, and Chief White House Correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, let me start with you as we watch this. The president making news on a whole other matter. Here is Kim Jong-un now exiting his limousine, walking into the Capella Hotel. We last saw him last evening as he was doing some sightseeing here in Singapore. But as you can see now, walking into the Capella Hotel, the next time we see him, he will be coming out to greet President Trump, who we don't believe he has arrived yet. We're going to continue to watch this. Hallie, as I was leading to you a moment ago, President Trump just minutes ago was tweeting about some other news back in Washington. Can you fill us in?
Related to his top economic advisor, Lester, Larry Kudlow. Kudlow had joined the president at the G7 summit in Quebec, but the president tweeted that he has suffered a heart attack. He is back in Washington at the Walter Reed Medical Center. The president tweeting about this, as you mentioned, just moments away from that handshake with Kim Jong-un. Clearly, this is something that he and his staff are thinking about. Kudlow is in his early 70s. We last saw him just 48 hours ago. He went out on the Sunday shows talking about some of the tensions that erupted in Canada between President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over the new steel and aluminum tariffs that the U.S. has put on our allies. We don't have any word on Kudlow's condition at the moment, but we expect we should find out more. Clearly, the focus now of the president's top aides who are joining him, and Kudlow not on this trip, of course, perhaps a little split between what's happening at home and what's happening here.
Yeah.
Two volatile leaders. They've tested each other.
Rocket Man should have been handled a long time ago.
They've taunted each other.
Kim Jong-un issued a direct response. I will surely and definitely tame the mentally deranged U.S. dotard with fire.
Now, they're moments away from meeting for the first time, face to face.
I hope the upcoming meeting in Singapore represents a bright new future for the world.
With the stability of the region and the world on the line.
I don't think I have to prepare very much.
Will their summit bring us closer to peace or peril? This is an MSNBC special report. The United States-North Korea Nuclear Summit. Here now are Rachel Maddow and Brian Williams.
And good evening. We are 1 hour away from a history-making moment in Singapore, the first time a sitting American president has agreed to meet with the head of North Korea. By loose definition, we're looking at a millennial and a man in his 70s. Both have nuclear weapons, though both are from markedly different places. The president has chosen to take a risk this evening and begin with a session alone with Kim Jong-un, with only interpreters present, not the usual note takers, to record what's being said. More on that later as we look at the president's motorcade now en route. For starters, we're also looking at an intelligence gap between the two tonight, and this is what we mean. They know more about our leader than we know about the enigmatic and cloistered North Korean dictator. For starters, our president has an unfiltered Twitter account. He was back at it early this morning, setting expectations, we believe. Quote, meetings between staff and representatives are going well and quickly, but in the end, that doesn't matter. We will all know soon whether or not a real deal, unlike those of the past, can happen.
As you see on your screen right now, the president's motorcade is en route to the Capella Hotel in Singapore, where President Trump and Kim Jong-un will meet for the first time. During the transition of power after our last presidential election, President Obama reportedly warned President-elect Trump that North Korea would be the most urgent problem of his presidency. President Trump has chosen to handle that problem by giving North Korea something it has sought for decades: a one-on-one meeting between their dictator and a sitting U.S. president. No other American president has been willing to do that, but this president said yes, instantly, and without consulting his advisors, as soon as Kim Jong-un asked in early March. Before flying in for tonight's summit, President Trump told reporters he will know, quote, within the first minute whether the summit will be a success. Asked to explain how he'll know, he told reporters, quote, my touch, my feel.
Kim Jong-un travels so seldom, and the North is so technologically behind. They don't have a jet aircraft that could make the trip to Singapore, so he arrived on a Chinese airliner for the purpose. Because he doesn't get out much, he has seemingly enjoyed the attention and the glare of the lights. Numerous cameras from North Korean state-run media are recording it all to take utmost advantage of it back home.
The first order of business will be what we expect to be a 45-minute-long bilateral meeting. Just the president, the dictator, and their translators. As Brian just mentioned, there will be no note takers. There will be no transcript. That means that if, hypothetically, North Korea comes out of that meeting saying X happened and the U.S. says, oh, no, it didn't, there will be no verifiable way to settle that dispute. So, deep breath. Here we go.
Here we go is right. Joining us here tonight for our special coverage of the North Korea summit, Nicole Wallace, former White House Communications Director for George W. Bush, crucial to what we're going to be talking about tonight, and these days host of Deadline White House. Chris Hayes, host of All In here on MSNBC, usually in this time period. Sue Terry, former director of the Korea-Japan Oceanic Affairs at the National Security Council under both presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama, and a Korean analyst for the CIA. Rounding out our team is Victor Cha, the Trump White House former candidate for ambassador to South Korea, and importantly, these days, an MSNBC analyst.
We are very lucky to have the expertise that we have at this table, particularly at the very end of this table here, and it's going to be a night when we need to be able to parse nuances and understand the subtleties of what's going on.